Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a simple monster truck and sea theme cake. For this cake, we're going to be starting off with a white hard board, and this is because the cake may become heavy and we don't want it to bend the board anyhow. I have some piping bags, scrapers, and the monster truck the mom requested me to place on the cake. I'm starting off with a chocolate cake and vanilla buttercream. Especially for custom cakes, I always use a piping bag filled with American buttercream and pipe just round circles around the middle of the cake. This ensures that I have even layer of icing to even layer of cake. You may skip this step if you want, but I always think the end result is always a very straight cake. This is an 8-inch layered cake and 3 layers of cake as an end product. For my custom cakes, we always bake a day before, just because when we set the cake sponge layers in the fridge Glad wrapped, allows the cake to be more firm and just stands on its own. As you know, sponge cakes are very soft, so we want it to be able to stack without being wobbly. Crumb coating is a must for all your cakes before the final coat. We do need to set this in the fridge or freezer for a couple minutes so it's firm and ready for our final coat. Here I have the cake from the fridge. I'm also mixing some icing in the stand mixer. You can mix it by hand if you want, but I need a Pacific blue, so I really needed to focus on how much blue I need to add. Mixing colors in a stand mixer always makes sure that the colors also become more darker, so you don't need as much food coloring. For this step, you could still fill another piping bag and pipe rings around the cake and on the top and scrape it off, but I'm just gonna blob some icing on top more than what I need and scrape it with an offset spatula. Offset spatula is very important so your fingers don't dip into the buttercream when you're trying to scrape buttercream around the cake. The spatula has been along with me for so long, and I've iced over 100 cakes with this, just one spatula really. The top is nearly smooth. You can just drag the leftover icing on the side of the cake. Your aim right now is just to cover your crumb coated cake so you do not see any cake peeking through. It does not have to be smooth in the first go. You just have to cover whatever is underneath. I'm going to be using a metal scraper. You can use a plastic scraper if you want, just to smooth out the cake. Metal scraper is very clean cut and results in a very sharpy cake, which is what we were after. Turntable is very important as well, so you're not going around with your elbows to smooth the cake, but nonetheless you can always do it without if you want. After scraping the sides, I'm gonna clean the board a little bit. I'm gonna be cleaning the edge on the top, so all the excess icing moving inwards and then scraping it off. There's lots going on top, so I'm not really worried about a smooth cake on top. Just want something fairly smooth on the sides, and a straight cake would be nice. You can really keep going until you're happy with your end results. This is all up to you. Cleaning board with a wet cloth is necessary so your final product looks finished and clean. For this next step, I had some vanilla cupcakes from the day before. I'm going to unwrap them and make it like a ramp where our truck will be sitting on. Once I was happy with my ramp going from larger to smaller, I started piping around the cupcakes that I had placed using just a piping bag cut off with no nozzle. And I just started piping because I will be smoothing this out with an offset spatula anyway. It does not have to be perfect again. We just want some like a height where the truck that we have can sit on. As you can see, I'm just covering the cake so it's not see-through, and the truck will be sitting on top. This stage does not have to be perfect because you are putting other elements which you'll see later. Make sure the truck that you're putting is washed and clean and dry, as this was a toy given from a mom. It was a personal toy for this boy, the cake I was making for. Now this cake is themed around monster truck, but the monster truck looks like a shark. So I had to input some ocean waves or ocean theme in this. So I just painted some buttercream on top so it looks like waves. Now I'm going to use some grass tip to pipe out some green grass around. I'm just making the icing first so I can do this step once my cake's elements are nearly finished. I pre-made some black tires the day before so they're set for us to put it on our cake. I also cut out letters of his name so they're nice and hard for me to carefully just place it on the cake. This cake is themed around shark and monster truck. As I've said before, I wanted to include a fin to just tie it all together. I rolled out gray fondant very thin to cut out a fin, but before I do that, I do want to put some another blue painted in the background like an arch, just to give an illusion that it's coming out of the ocean. I just painted a more darker blue, and for this blue cake I'm using Chef Master's colors. I just painted roughly so I would also know how big the fin has to be. Placing the soft fondant fin right on the cake and smoothing it out, making sure there's no air bubbles in the middle, and then I place the name gently onto the cake, making sure it is straight, it is spelled right. These are very important steps. I also glued the age number on the fin, so that was kind of cool. And I also aligned my tires because they were so dry, it was so easy to pick them up. I also made some stones to go around the cake and finished the cake off with some green grass, and it was just a freehand, so it was just wherever it needed grass. Also added some sprinkles to finish off the cake. Every time I'm making a particular age group, for instance, this is an age 5, I do want the cake to say that it's a baby's cake or a child's cake. Making it more cleaner is only gonna make it more mature looking cake, and we do not want that. We want this cake to be fun, to grasp attention, and to actually tell us what is this saying to us. Every cake is a project, every cake has a meaning, it is a symbol. It is very important to tell a story. And now I'm gonna add some flags, and for flags I just printed some checkers, and I'm using a toothpick and a glue, just cutting out the flags and placing them on toothpick, and then making sure they're equal and does look like a flag. I only made 2 flags, but you can make more if you want, and I place them in the front and in the back, and you can place them anywhere you really think they should go. And that was my final cake. I hope you enjoy this video. Gives it a thumbs up, follow me for more. I would really appreciate your subscribing me, and I would love to share more cake styles. Always remember to have fun with what you're making, and experience comes with practice. It's always a story we're telling. Here's the final cake.